Hey folks, I'm Leon, and this is Mind Your Business Quad Cities, where every month I'll be interviewing small business owners local to the Quad Cities. We want to know who they are and why they do what they do. With a population of 333 million people in the U.S. and only 10% being small business owners, we need to know more. Good morning. So I had a great conversation with Jeff Brandlin from Assurance Electrical Services, located here in Prescott Valley. We had a chance to talk to him about his background, his company's operations, his staffing. But most of all, we keyed in on marketing. He spent a lot of money in marketing. He knows what works and what doesn't work, so you can learn a lot. Check it out. I'm here with Jeff Brandlin from AES Electrical, located here in Prescott Valley, servicing the Quad Cities. So Jeff, welcome to the podcast.
Good morning. Thank you.
So I'm glad you came on. I wanted to talk to you about your business and its operations here in the Quad Cities. So you have an electrical servicing company, correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So what does that entail as far as what you do in your company?
So we do, we're full service residential, commercial electrical contractors. So we'll do any job, residential, commercial, light industrial within the Quad City area.
Okay. And you're based out of Prescott Valley?
That is correct.
And the number to your office is 928-713-2177. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So, Brandon, talk to me about your staffing right now and how many people you're staffing at AES.
Okay. So that fluctuates quite a bit. Retention around here is pretty tough.
Yes.
But we've done quite a bit of work on that. We currently have 4 employees. We've got a service manager. We've got 2 technicians out in the field and an office manager as well as myself.
Nice. Okay. So you got quite a few people on your payroll then.
Got a couple. Yep.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Payrolls are growing. So out of your staffing, so you're staffing somewhere around 7 people, give or take?
About 5 people.
About 5 people?
Correct.
All right. And you're paying payroll taxes. And I don't know if you realize that for each employee, when you run the numbers, that you're matching each employee at like 6% for Social Security and 1.45% for Medicare. And that has nothing to do with your unemployment tax, which is separate for your company. If it's anything like mine, it's probably like around 4% right now.
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
Somewhere around there?
Yep.
Yeah.
4.6, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then your federal unemployment coming in at 6%. So you fit that bill for everybody that you take on at your company right now, correct?
That is correct.
I mean, it's the law. You have a big heart as a small business owner fitting this, even though it's stuck to you, you don't have a choice. So what's the process of hiring over at your company?
So we've delved into this quite a bit. Like I said, there's been retention issues since, we started 2018 out here. And we've really focused on hiring the higher caliber quality employees. They take longer to find. Usually, they come at a higher premium with package benefits, et cetera. But one of our keys to success is finding that correct person to fit into that spot.
How do you go about doing that? Like, would you, for instance, we use ZipRecruiter, or how do you advertise?
So I've used a lot of the local hiring agencies.
Okay.
The web-based agencies haven't had the greatest luck. To be honest with you, it's been word of mouth.
Okay.
So
is that where you find your success?
Yeah, an employee will know somebody that formerly worked for another competitor who's out looking for a job at the moment. So word of mouth has been the best for us. They
kind of hear through the community how you do things over there, and they're like, oh, you know what, I can fit in over there.
Yeah,
they kind of take care of people.
Absolutely.
Like the way
grass is greener. Yep.
Yeah. That's a good way of going about it, because you're right. Turnover up here is extremely high. We have a special place up here in the Quad Cities. What I notice when it comes to hiring is we're polluted with recovery centers here. All right. And so they get in the way of my hiring process. Do you run into that?
Yeah, we do. we do.
So what I see is I'll be interviewing somebody, trying to figure out why they're here. That's how it starts. And then I get an address, and I know the address.
Yep.
It's a halfway house or a recovery center and stuff like that. And they hurt the process of hiring, because if if I have 20 interviews, I'm lucky if 10 show up. I'm lucky if there's one decent person in there. So I bump my head against that quite a bit. You too?
Yes, absolutely. We've had mixed results. We've had good outcomes with some employees that have come from that kind of a pass, and we've had bad.
Yeah, it's a different time when it comes to developing a team. That's one of the things I find that any one of the entities right now is developing that team is just so hard because there's no more like really invested interest.
Yep, it's very hard to find.
Yeah, like when I was young, I would work for a company and I would love for somebody to teach me, with the opportunity that maybe I can do what he's doing. And then maybe I can make the money he's making and I can do it for myself, You learn a trade.
Yep.
And we find ourselves in the weirdest times right now where there are people like yourself, my partner Juvie, and myself that were willing to teach.
Yep. Willing
to teach a trade, that you could do really, really well with if you want to hustle and work. But I don't find people looking to do that. I would throw myself at you because you have the opportunity to actually learn and really get ahead. But there's no value on that no more for some reason.
It's hard to find those willing to learn.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm one of a select few that is willing, like yourself, to teach. Mm-hmm. I'll groom somebody from start to becoming, their own business owner.
Yeah.
But just finding somebody with the attitude and the will to learn is becoming more and more difficult.
Yeah, because I guess it depends on what small business, but I think that most small businesses have an owner that knows they will work until it gets done. Like they won't go home. They will work till it gets done. And that's how they find their success. They're not going to tap. I find most of the mentality is people tap out.
Yep, I agree.
They tap out. It's like people are like, I want to make $1 million a year. And I'm like, I can tell you how to do that the way I know how to do it. And that's like a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Because you see, there's a lot of hours put in.
Absolutely.
And I consider it a blessing. But some people, they don't want that. But they don't really have much either. And that's where I get confused.
Yeah, well, it's a tall order to put in the work to get to that point. And it's very difficult for most to accept that, to put in the time, to put in the hours, to accept the failures and move forward instead of quit.
Yeah. I think we had a generation of people that were they were really hungry. And now, I think we fed them too much.
I agree.
Now they're not so hungry.
I agree.
That's a problem.
Entitled.
Yeah. I run into that a lot at the different entities that I work at. And like I was talking with the last guest, a lot of our successes come from like doing different things than the norm, like homeschool young people. We found success with that. They seem to like understand how to communicate, take constructive criticism. They don't get upset. They do what they're told and they want to learn. Like they'll take the time to listen and want to learn. Where I see like in a lot of the public schools, the young people are a little more high paced, but not in a good way.
Sure.
Just because you're moving more, it doesn't mean you're doing more.
Sure.
And so they're like a lot more scatterbrained, can't take constructive criticism. Everything's personal and it's about feelings.
Yep.
Where I don't operate well in that world. So that's why I use Donna. I'm like, Donna, go talk to that person. Because I know for me, I'm straightforward. I like to just be told what's up. I do better that way.
Yep. I'm the same way.
Yeah. Like if you tell me what needs to be done, I can do that. You give me constructive criticism. I'm fine with that. But don't blur it for me. Don't confuse it for me. I like to know where I stand.
Exactly.
And I think we come from a place when I was younger, like we all knew where we stood with the adults.
Oh yeah.
I was a screw up when I was a kid, man. I used to get in trouble all the time, but I couldn't get away from it. I went to school and they were like, hey, you're screwing up. I went home. Mom was like, yo, you're screwing up. I went outside. The neighbors on the block. I was like, I don't know how they know my business, but they were like, you're screwing up. You couldn't get away from it. Like, so you knew you were like, I'm screwing up. These days, they don't really, it's not the same. Like there's outlets for them they have feelings, the outlets for them to safe places and stuff like that. It's a different time. So anyways, I try to keep my kids away from that. I find more success with young people that have not plugged into that, whatever that society, school, feelings, safe places. And it's confused a lot of people. And I think we get to see the results of that right now in the workforce.
Absolutely.
And what really upsets me is it's our people. That's what kills me. is it's our people. It's, like, when I look at one of the nail salons, they don't have no staffing problems. They're staffed up. No staffing problems. Different culture.
Sure.
Not a problem. Our people, Americans, like young people, there's no hunger. There's no desire. They don't want to work. Like you said, it's entitled. I think we put ourselves in a really bad place. So for small business, because I always wonder where we're going to be in like 10 years.
Absolutely.
If this keeps up like this, like where do you think your business would be in 10 years?
It's grim.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is grim.
Yeah.
I just got to, reinforce, my beliefs, the way I was brought up, my work ethic, and just try to, instill that as much as I can on my crew to hopefully carry on that legacy.
Yeah. Every once in a while you find somebody who's like, they still exist.
Yeah. Yeah. Needle in a haystack, but
there's still
they're
hope. All right. I want to talk to you about how do you market your company?
How much time do we have? So I'm pretty big into marketing. I've gone through multiple different avenues. I like this. I've done print. I've done digital. I've done pay-per-click. I've done Google LSA.
AdWords,
I've
SEO.
Done SEO, AdWords.
Okay, so you've been through the gauntlet of marketing.
I've done geofence, everything.
This is good.
To my knowledge.
Listen up. You might be able to learn something right here. So he spent a lot of money, wasted some money, and found out what worked for him. So tell me what works for you.
So what's been working for us recently is, times have changed. Print worked back in the day. I'm not getting the traction that I used to get with print. So
mail out?
Yeah, correct. Okay. Mail out and magazines, correct. So Google LSA has been working pretty well for us. Local search ads. That's fairly specific and niche towards service-based business. Google pay-per-click does fairly well for us. It has a higher acquisition cost per customer.
Okay. Yes.
But it works fairly well.
So you're using that?
Yep, we're using that.
Okay.
Good old fashioned boots on the ground. I'd say a quarter to a third of my business is done from BNI, from business networking.
Yes, so, it's relationship based.
Yep, it is. It is relationship
because you plug yourself into the community too.
Absolutely.
That's how I know you.
Absolutely.
And that's a great way to do business up here because everything is relationship based. You do get a great name for yourself. I use you at all our entities, because I'm sure you're busy, but I always feel like I'm a priority.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's great. You know, so like I know when I call AES and I need something done, I get great service. They come right out, and I know they're busy, but like I said, I feel like I'm a priority, and I think that's how you run a business.
You have to. A service-based business is about the customer. Yeah. It's about their experience. It's about the relationship. Anybody can hire anyone to go put in an outlet or fix a light, but it's that experience that you have with our company that sets us apart.
Yeah, you make you feel special. Who doesn't like feeling special? That's what I do at the restaurant. I want to make people feel special. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And that's really what it is. It's not just Juvie's amazing food, which there's a lot of that. But you want to make people feel special. People want to feel special.
Yes, they do.
And you make me feel special, Jeff. I appreciate that.
Oh,
because
well,
anytime your guys come out, they do a great job. And like I said, you make us a priority. So that's really big, especially when you got to get stuff done. Yep. All right. So you marketing a bunch of different ways. AdWords seems to work out for you very well. Networking in the community. I agree. That's huge. Yep. That's huge. But I think you get your best customers from that.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Yep. You get a more quality customer that understands what you're doing, why you do it, how you do it. Yep. And they appreciate that.
And obviously there's good old fashioned word of mouth. And that comes, with building your client base. Word of mouth, grows it exponentially.
So as a small business, you're spending a lot of money on marketing. What assets do you use in the community that are free or low costing that have benefited you? Or are there any that you know of?
Well, as you mentioned, every marketing endeavor comes with a cost, whether minimal or higher up there. But I think the community-based Chamber of Commerce, the Senior Referral Network, those options, the Business Networking International, those have been the most cost-effective marketing means that I've done.
I appreciate you plugging those in. Because I wanted to add to those. There's a couple of them that I've used here in the community that haven't really cost me any money and I didn't really know exist that somebody else told me about. One of them was the College Small Business Administration. Mm-hmm. I think her name is Edith. I'm not sure, but she does an amazing job over there. Chamber of Commerce is huge. I think that if you're out here doing business, if you're not in the chamber, you need to be in the chamber. That's just this is how the community works here. You know what I mean?
I couldn't agree more. Not only to be part of the chamber, but to be active with the mixers, get out there and show face.
Yes.
Just having your name in a directory is not enough. You need to be the face of your business.
And listen, this is the Quad Cities. So if you're in Prescott, you could be in PV's chamber and vice versa in Chino's. Absolutely. You should be in every chamber utilizing every asset they have because they'll plug you in, and some will plug you in more than others. So I happen to be a huge fan of all the chambers and a really, really big fan of Prescott Valley's chamber because you can feel the energy when they hit you, and that's what you need in business. So you also have the BBB. Yep. They're okay. It's good to have their sticker. People, it's old school stuff. I think people are like, oh, they're accredited with the BBB. They don't have no complaints. They feel good. So I use them also. And so there's a couple of different places where people can go budgeting themselves. Because like you said, I'm the same way. I've wasted a lot of money in marketing to find out what works. And so every 6 months, I'll go over everything and go, okay, that's working for us and that's not working for us. When I was in California, I was using direct mail marketing. I wasted a ton of money.
Sure.
When I first got out here with American Crown, I could literally target people with restaurants and hoods.
Yep.
So the direct mail marketing worked. So I guess they just didn't throw their stuff out. They had a little more time to read it.
Sure.
Demographics are a little older. People have a little more patience up here.
Absolutely.
So yeah, different things work in the community here that would not work in other places. And that's also with social media and Google too.
Yep.
I found that SEO in a site, say my pool company in California, I couldn't make it resonate. I was dumping a lot of money into SEO in it and I could not make it resonate because my competition was out. It was so much out there. Where here I could SEO a site. What a good person that's marketing and knows how to do it right. And it will resonate. I can get it to resonate.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So that's really helped me out. All right, Jeff, tell me about yourself.
Myself. Okay. Well, I was born and raised in California, in Southern California. I got into the electrical union, the IBEW, in 2004. I completed my apprenticeship. I went on to start my own company in California, become an electrical contractor in 2012. 2017, I decided I wasn't happy there anymore, and I was looking for a better quality of life, and found myself out here in Prescott Valley. In 2018, I started up Assurance Electrical in Arizona.
Nice. And
been grinding ever since.
So that again, see, I get excited when I hear stuff like this because that's you to be an entrepreneur, you have to have a big set of balls to do that. I mean, so you just came out here with the knowledge that you had and was like, I have this idea in my head. I'm going to put it on paper. I'm going to make it resonate. And now I have a business.
Absolutely. Didn't know the soul either.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know anybody up here either.
Yep.
And the people that are from here, like I call them the originals because there are not a lot of them.
Yep.
And so when I'm out there networking, I'm talking to everybody. I'm always waiting to find somebody that's from here. And it's like one of every 40 people I'll find they're like, hey, I've been here. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like everybody else is not from here, coming here for what they want to be here. So like there's a lot of us with the same idea of what we want. You know, what we were coming from and what we want to come to.
Yep.
Which is, I think it's a great place for us to be. This place is ripe for business. There's a lot of business that's going to be coming here. So I think if the small businesses are solid in the Quad Cities, I mean, the Quad Cities would be amazing because once again, there's no large industry here really.
Sure.
And so we employ everybody.
We do. And it's absolutely a growing community. It's a great place to
it's growing,
run a business. Even
though people don't want it to grow. It is growing. And I come from a place where I'm from a big city, a huge population, and all sorts of weird things happen when you have a huge population.
Yep.
If you're from Cali, a big city area, you know how that goes.
Yep.
But I also know that growth is just part of life, and this place is gonna grow no matter what. You might as well have some sort of control,
sure,
on how we're gonna grow,
sure,
where we're gonna go, and what we're gonna do, and what you want it to look like. So. It's one of those things. I think we're in a good place, good time. I think timing's on our side, and I don't think it could be a better place for business, or a better place that I would want to do business.
I agree. I think it's an amazing place for business.
Last but not least, it's the hardest thing about business is team development. What kind of strategies do you employ over at AES to develop your team?
So like I said, putting the right key personnel in the proper positions. We need to staff accordingly. We need to delegate, and unfortunately, that finding that right person, that's not cheap. They know what they're worth. They need to be properly incentivized.
Okay, so you're looking for people with a ton of experience.
For
you want the
certain
black
positions,
belts.
yes, yeah.
You want black belt electricians out there. What do they call them? Master electricians?
Yep.
That's what you're looking for.
Journeyman master electricians,
Yeah.
yes.
And if you don't have that, you'll train that.
Correct.
To the right person.
Correct, absolutely. And that's the goal for the majority of the crew. But for those key personnel, service manager, et cetera, office manager, you need the experience.
Yeah, they need to know what's going on.
You need to pave the way for the new coming employees.
So those are your highest price paid employees, I would imagine.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so your staff, this is something that I keep running into. Where do they live?
So they're all local to the Quad City area. Yep.
Are they homeowners?
Some are homeowners, some are renters.
Where do you see the future going if you want to grow your company with the housing situation here in the Quad Cities?
I personally feel like we compensate our employees fairly well. I feel like they have a chance to get out on their own, get into their own home. But I think it's very difficult, for most business owners to be able to do that.
Yeah, we have a unique situation up here where housing is non-existent. And so bringing people in, because I've thought about this for some of the entities, to try to fix the staffing issue I would run into is bringing people in from other places.
Yep.
And ran into the problem of not having any housing to put them in. And then I also run into the problem where my managers and my chefs, my top chefs, they do pretty decent. They can make anywhere between 70 and say 110,000 a year. They can't find housing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we're already like bottlenecked up here when it comes to housing. So when I look at when I project out 5 to 10 years, if we want to grow, if I want to open another business here, and if I want to staff, I don't know where I'd put my people. I have no idea where I'd put them. Prescott seems to be landlocked as far as that's concerned. And there's not a lot of housing down here in Prescott Valley. Things are expensive. And they got a couple different projects going on as far as that's concerned with the, I think the Fane's got something going on with the 360, I believe. And the city's proposed a couple of, I think, different ideas that don't sound too good. But yeah, so I wonder down the line where we're going to go with that as far as how we'll house our people if we want to grow. If you don't decide at that point to be done, because I don't know when you're ready to retire. Are you close to retiring?
No. When you asked me when I was 25, yeah, I'm close to that age I was supposed to retire, but no, I'm nowhere near retiring yet.
You're still grinding?
Yeah, still grinding.
So you would say you got another 10 years left of AES?
Yeah, I've got probably another 10 years. Yeah.
Will you ever cap your model, or will you continue to grow it if you can?
That's a great question. I wouldn't mind capping my model if I find a sweet spot where everybody's happy. Employee happiness is paramount for me. So if we can be successful and have a happy staff, I'm happy there.
I found the gauntlet of business just works out as far as you staff, you get the jobs for the staff, and then the staff needs more jobs, and then you need more staff, and it doesn't stop.
It doesn't. It's cyclical. It doesn't.
Yeah, so that's why I was asking about projecting down the line. That's one of the biggest things I see coming our way is how we're going to grow and how we're going to house our staff members going forward. Because I'm starting to run into it right now.
Sure.
I'm starting to run into it right now. And there's quite a few business owners that I already speak to that have already come up with a model of housing their staff.
So are they developing a real estate portfolio?
Yeah. No joke. I'm going to have her on here soon. Lynn from Coco's. She's amazing. And that's literally her business model. Anytime she opens another entity, she buys a house so she could house her staff.
Wow.
That's amazing. I don't have it like that yet, so I can't do that. But and there's a couple other people that have that kind of same model and have thought about doing that. And it just goes to show the pressure we have here in staffing for the small business up here in the Quad Cities. So. All right, Jeff, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. You want to leave us with anything?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to be on this podcast, and we're here to serve our community. Any opportunity we can come by. We offer free whole home safety inspections. Give us a shout. Our phone number is 928-713-2177.
All right, folks. And once again, we're speaking with Jeff Brandlin from AES Electric Services located in the Prescott Valley area. Give him a shout. Thank you for tuning in to Mind Your Business Quad Cities. We will see you next time. We have a new episode every month. Check us out wherever you stream podcasts. Mind Your Business Quad Cities is proud to be on Cast 11, Prescott's podcast network.